have put forward some very creative ideas in terms of making the presentation more effective. What was the response like? And tell me a little bit more about some of the presentations.
I mean, at the primary school level, we went to Guarakari Hindu School and we were dealing with standard 4s and 5s, which is between 10 and 12. So their attention span won't be as long as ours. So we included games such as pin the star on the right. And we would describe a right and we would tell them, okay, which right do you think it is? And if they guessed it right, they would pin the star on the right. We also showed them videos on what are their fundamental human rights. And at that age, they don't understand if they have any rights, or some of them may actually think they have too many rights, and we need to bridge this gap. Whilst you have rights, you also have responsibilities with these rights. And at the high school level, we show them more documentaries rather than cartoon videos. And then we also played a game. Okay, so you have 5 minutes to leave Trinidad and Tobago. Name 10 things you take with you when you leave. And then we would say, okay, you have to cut that down to 3 things you have to take. Or you could only take 3 family members with you. Who do you leave behind? And this created a sense of how a refugee actually feels when they have to flee their country involuntarily.
That was very effective, I would think. All right. You mentioned Living Waters Community. Can you tell us a little bit about that collaboration with Hugh Law School? And
when we discussed what theme we wanted to have for the law clinic, Living Water Community was the Ministry for Refugees, and it seemed natural to collaborate with them to create our projects as well as create awareness. And we developed 3 substantive projects, and the first one is the documentary as well as the social curriculum and the website for refugees. Donavon will talk about the documentary and the social curriculum, whereas I will talk about the website.
Okay, Donavon, can you tell us about the documentary?
Sure. Well, the documentary is particularly dealing with refugee children, because refugee children are not capable of having access to public education. Probably, well, in most instances, they do not have documentation, of course, so they cannot be placed into the public school system in Trinidad. Whereas they may not have the resources to be able to afford private education. And that is particularly what the documentary is looking at. Whereas the other project, which is my project, is the cultural orientation curriculum. Well, what the cultural orientation curriculum is, it's a hard copy document which will be distributed to refugees and to the public. So what this is about, the aim is this is to assist refugees in understanding the norms and cultures in Trinidad and Tobago. So the document is a hard copy, as I said, and it will include information that will provide information to access basic needs and amenities to allow for local integration of refugees in Trinidad, to be able to blend in with the culture, to be able to socialize. Some of the topics were society and culture. Some of it was also local slangs of Trinidad, so that I will be able to understand what people are saying.
I think you would need to learn some of them as well.
Yes, I learned quite a few.
All right, and Vanita, could you tell us a little bit about the social website?
Okay, so the website is directed for providing information to, yes, the general public, but also it is directly geared towards providing information for refugees when they enter Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, when we were discussing what we want on the website, we conducted a focus group with some of the refugees. We asked them what are their issues, what are their concerns, what information would you like on the website. And I mean, we live in an age of technology where these persons who are fleeing their country and entering illegally in our country, they will not go to government officials to seek protection. They will fear to ask anyone on the street what can they do. The first thing they will do is go online. They will search what refugee protection is afforded in Trinidad and Tobago. And we would want our website to be one of the first websites that come up. And after we spoke with these refugees, we took what they said and we provided information on the law on refugees, the process to be declared a refugee, frequently asked questions, refugee rights, emergency contact information at Living Water Community, healthcare, police. I mean, they probably would not want to contact the police, but we still gave that information. We also would have videos, we will get the documentary video and we will put it up online. We will also have a What's New section which will include updates on laws in Trinidad and Tobago as well as worldwide. So that is essentially what the website is geared towards.
All right, I'd like to know a little bit about, in your opinion, in a nutshell, what is the state of the refugee protection and deficiencies in our local legislation at this time?
Well, the fact is, in Trinidad and Tobago, there is no local legislation for protection of refugees. There is a refugee policy of 2014 which systematically pushes the United Nations High Commission on Refugees, right? They will allow for refugee status determination in first phase, and it pushed that, I wouldn't say burden, but it will push that obligation onto the government in different phases. However, it is not enacted legislation, it's merely a policy, and technically we do need actually enacted legislation in order for proper protection of refugees in Trinidad.
So in terms of discrimination of refugees, do you think it's a major issue in Trinidad and Tobago? How would you rate it?
Very much. On a scale to 1 to 10, I will say 8 in regards to refugee discrimination. Well, we can see that around the world right now, the refugee situation is in a dire situation for all intents and purposes. Look at this Syrian civil war that's going on right now. Well, a lot of people, especially Europeans and Americans, are taking in less refugees every year, including the American government, who, well, under President Trump, he stated that he will take in less refugees as of this year. That is because of a stigma, which I refer to as a general stigma on refugees, that is attached to them. So the stigma is that they are associated with terrorism, they take away jobs from nationals of the countries in which they come to seek shelter. And that particular ideology and mentality has drifted into even Trinidad and all parts of the world, especially with Latino women. And I think you know about the Venezuelan situation, whereas they have so much food shortages and the Venezuelan government is technically, well, they are oppressing the people to such an extent. So they're seeking help from as much as they can, right? So the stigma attached in Trinidad, especially with Latino women, is that they're associated with prostitution. So in many instances, they can't work legally in Trinidad. So they're exploited. The people take them on for jobs, especially construction jobs and domestic work, and don't intend to pay them at all. So you can see the situation where it is. I can't delve into the details in regards to the focus group because we signed a non-disclosure agreement. However, that situation is really dire in regards to discrimination in Trinidad and exploitation as well.
Yes. Well, I'd just like to thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show this morning and inform us about what's really taking place with this refugee issue in our country. And, of course, a great job that you all are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
We take a short break and we return with more. Stay tuned.